Thank you, sir.
Peace. All right. And we are going to get into The Dark Tower, Stephen King's magnum opus. And these are my words. I mean, you know I'm grandiose as but no, these are his words. This magnum opus. Basically, The Dark Tower is like Stephen King's masterpiece. This is a huge collection of books. He started writing in 1970 and they finished. The last one came out in 2012. And each book supposedly, the whole story supposedly ties in to all his other stories. The kids from it are reflected and affected by the events in the Dark Tower series. You know, doggone, I want to say the Langoliers because I'm stuck on the Langoliers. I love the Langoliers so much.
It was a hell of a movie.
It was Bronson Pinchot's finest.
Cool name.
The Langoliers?
Langoliers.
You've never seen the Langoliers?
Langa.
Oh, gee. All right, you need to see the Langoliers. And it is a TV movie that you can find just staying at home on a Sunday at any point, and it'll be well worth your time. It won't seem like it when you see like the premise and it's just people running around an airport, but it is highly worth your time.
Is The Dark Tower worth my time?
Absolutely not, my friend.
Oh.
You know, I'm sorry. I had high hopes for The Dark Tower. I didn't read The Dark Tower. I listened to the audiobook version, and I didn't realize that's what I was listening to. It was purely happenstance. At the time, I was moving out of an old apartment, and my girlfriend had left her CD collection there. And I had already disconnected like my PC and stuff. I didn't have any music to blast, and I've just got to unpack a lot of stuff before the morning, and I'm bored. TVs are unplugged, cable boxes are wrapped up and ready to go. All I've got is I've got my old boombox, and I've got her CD. So I'm looking through and seeing what's good there.
This is a wonderful story. I love this.
It was just pure. It was just random, and there's this collection. There's this collection of discs. It was the Dark Tower series. I'm like, okay, that's random. I feel like I've heard this name before, and I threw it on. And here's how much packing I actually had to do. I listened to the whole damn thing.
Woo!
Yeah, wow. It was like 8 hours of packing straight. It sucked, but it was the series, and I got familiar with the story, and I'm like, yo, this is long, drawn out, but damn good.
Sounds like Stephen King. Long and drawn out.
Oh, very much so. Have you ever seen the I was going to say The Tempest. Is it The Tempest?
The Stand?
The Stand, thank you. If you ever seen The Stand.
Oh my god. Yeah, I
love that movie. Yeah.
That movie's terrible. The first I saw it on VHS, so it was I think 4 cassettes.
Yeah.
The first one was actually pretty awesome. Everything else after that was boring. It was like a dull snooze fest.
Well, you probably fell asleep through it. It takes a weekend and a half to watch.
Yeah. No, I did it all in one day.
Oh,
ouch.
Why would you do that to yourself?
That seems cruel.
Well, I mean, if it was good, it should have been great, right? You can sit through all of Star Wars, right? You could do Star Wars marathon. That's fantastic, right?
The Stand, I don't break from meals and church.
Did you ever check out the Marvel print?
No.
Yeah. All right. Well, see, okay, again, these works are things that reflect on people, man. They have an effect, and Stephen King's work is good, even when adapted for other media to a degree.
Usually, when it's in other form, it has to be done not by Stephen King, someone else, and it ends up being pretty fantastic.
Okay, no, good point. This wasn't necessarily done by Stephen King. They've been trying to make The Dark Tower for a long time, and for a while, the longest running name attached to it was Ron Howard. Ron Howard's a good director, man. Yeah. He would have had an interesting spin on it, but for the amount of time he was interested in the project. I don't know. The technology wasn't really up to the CG was nowhere near where it should be, and the project has never really got off the ground. You know, scripts were started and stopped. Production teams were put together and then disbanded. Actors were targeted, never actually cast, and the whole thing was kind of a mess. Finally, it was shelved. Howard's moved on, and the director that took this on is a dude. He had a very interesting story because he was mostly interested in because his whole vision was when I first learned to speak English, to speak American, I learned from the Dark Tower. It's like, okay, cool. Well, good for you. Let's see what a true fan does with this work. And what we got is this mess of a story with surprisingly good acting. I mentioned Idris Elba. I was excited. He was one of my favorite actors, and the man is good. Despite when you give him crap like Prometheus, he's still good.
He's the only good part of Prometheus.
Yes. Yes, he is. I do like that Noomi Rapace finally got an American role, but it did her no justice.
Yeah, she was wasted on that movie.
Very much so.
They gave her a terrible character.
Yeah. And again, why is it always toothy vaginas left and right? That's like with the freaking the slugs coming out the eyeballs.
They made a movie about that.
They did.
It's called Teeth.
Yep.
Okay, that's different. That's an actual vagina with teeth.
Yeah.
And in Prometheus, it was just everything looks like a vagina with teeth. It's like very obviously there was some kind of like someone had some deep seated misogyny going on there, and they need to present it some way.
That artist.
H.R. Geiger. Well, H.R. Geiger was veiny penises left and right. That's a little different. It was rib cages and penises.
Oh, okay.
And hybrids of both. This had nothing to do with the Dark Tower.
We're diverging so much.
We are. Okay, let me stay on point. First of all, the Dark Tower itself is a good story, and I'm familiar with the book, so I was disappointed to see that the movie was kind of mediocre. And by mediocre, I mean it was well acted. The fault is not in any of the actors, except maybe Matthew McConaughey, who is a stellar actor in most everything, but really felt like he was phoning this one in. Like this dude, it seemed like he was sedated through most of the movie, and the role doesn't really call for that, man.
That's his natural face, right?
No, his natural thing is really mellow and laid back, all right.
Most of the time
except when he's,
There you go.
Ooh, I hope you guys have seen Wolf of Wall Street. It's such a great scene.
It's so good.
All right, but no, McConaughey plays the big bad in this. He plays the Man in Black. And Idris Elba plays the protagonist, Roland Deschain. Which, okay, now a little bit of controversy
That's
before.
A great name.
Roland Deschain.
Yeah.
It's not bad. He plays the gunslinger, the main character throughout most of these. And there was a bit of controversy because people were complaining that why is Roland's usually is written as Caucasian? He's a white guy. Why do you have Idris Elba playing him? If anything, he should be the Man in Black. Like, oh, really? Okay, so you don't want your protagonist, your hero, being recast as a black guy, but you want the black guy to play the villain, who's also a white guy? What are you getting at here? That's my question. Yeah, my reaction.
But was the gunslinger actually white in the books?
They're both white. Yeah, the gunslinger was white and the Man in Black was white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'd heard something. I was wrong, but I'd heard that they never actually referred to his skin tone.
Oh, I could have sworn they did.
No, they refer to his eyes. Blue eyes.
Okay, so one of those baby blue-eyed black folks from natural.
Oh
yeah.
Well, he's from another dimension or whatnot, right?
Okay.
He can have blue eyes.
All right, the very accepting. Vera
Baby,
Jones,
I got nothing. I don't know.
No. It's all good. What I'm getting at is it's a silly thing to be mad at. Especially after you see the movie, there's plenty more to be upset about. The main beef is this is a succinct production. Everything happens very quickly. Everything happens very tightly, and that's a problem because this is a very long story.
It's a Stephen King.
It is, but it's well developed. And I don't mean to continuously rate the movie based on the book. I'm just saying that as a movie itself, it felt lacking. It felt like you can tell there's a longer story here that they're kind of that you get the abridged version. And that really hurt this production because the acting from Elba was good. The performances from other people were decent enough. I think the only one that really kind of bothered me would be McConaughey. And that's unfortunate because I know he's a great actor. I know he's done phenomenal work, and I really expected a lot more from him. And it seemed like he was phoning this in. You did buy him as some parts evil, but that was more in like the writing setting, having the character do this heinous stuff. And it felt like he sleepwalked through this one, which is unfortunate. The little boy, Tom Taylor, who played Jake, not the main character of the stories, but the main one that this movie follows as the catalyst for Roland's story, is surprisingly well. He did a great job. I found out that production was held up because the kid's growing. He's a little boy, and by the time they started production and ended production, he had like sprouted like 2 feet. Oh, wow. And he looked different. He sounded different, so they had to do a ton of reshoots to make you understand. No, this is the same kid, and it didn't happen over the course of like 4 years.
Good old puberty.
Yeah, hey, good for him. You know, maybe the boy got laid too. No, he was still like 12.
That's a little
no,
creepy,
no,
man.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Catherine Winnick was a face that I actually struggled. She plays Jake's mother, Laurie. I struggled to recognize her because she did a good job, and I'm like, someone of this caliber. I feel like I've seen her before. From where? And I checked her catalog. She's done a lot of TV movies and straight to video, straight to Netflix stuff, which almost none of I've seen. And then I saw Bones. If anyone's seen Bones, you will recognize her as Holly.
Talking about
as Hannah.
The TV series?
The TV series. She is Hannah, the woman that Celie Booth dated for several episodes. Went nearly to marriage.
15 years ago.
Bones?
Or more.
Bones just wrapped like last year, I think.
Yeah, but they
But when
ran
did it
for
start?
like
Oh yeah,
12
Bones
years or
Bones
something
ran
like
for a long time. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, when it first started.
Okay, yeah.
I think I only watched like 2 episodes of that when it first appeared, and that was it.
Okay, yeah. It was a very different show after that first season. That first season was like they were working out a lot of kinks.
Yeah.
And they redesigned the character of Bones herself and the way the story played out. It was pretty good. I liked it. I followed it from beginning to end. But that's where you recognize her from. And the rest of the actors are kind of, I won't even say they're B, C-listers. They're people I've never really seen before, and they all gave decent performances. So the casting was still on point. The direction was mainly at fault here because people that were placed in scenes that should have made you really feel, should have been gut-wrenching, should have really made you feel those emotional like hits, were just kind of like, there's no reason to care about these people. They're on, something happens, and they're off. Or they're on, they do something amazing, and you don't care. They're on, something happens that should affect you some way, positively, negatively, you get none of that. And it moves very quickly, so you don't even have time to reflect on it. Like, think back, like, you know what? That happened. Yeah, that was kind of ill. None of it. Which is a daggone shame, because when you have a director that has a story like, I learned a lot about myself from this movie, and I had the need, I don't know what accent that is, but he really felt a personal connection, so you're like, this is the person that's really going to give it their all. And you got a movie that it is a tight hour and a half.
Yeah, I heard it was really short.
Yes, it is. It is an hour and a half, and scenes that should be badass. There are a couple of cool effects, a ton of effects. Only a couple of them are really cool. A lot of the other stuff looks kind of mediocre.
So is this a sequel to like the books? Is that what they're saying that it is, or is it like an adaptation?
This is an adaptation of one of the first books.
Oh, okay.
This is you're introduced to Roland for the first time, and you find out about his mission, and you find out how the Man in Black fits in, and nothing else is really factored in. If you're a hardcore Stephen King fan, and I heard this, I didn't spot it for myself, I heard that there's a couple of Easter eggs in the backgrounds of some of the scenes that do tie in to other Stephen King works.
Cujo, confirmed.
Confirmed? Cujo? You saw
I don't know.
Cujo.
I'm just saying, was there a dog in the back?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
A rabid dog.
if there was, you saw like a bit of fur, and then they moved on to a different scene. They were in a different city now.
I was just joking around.
No,
Cujo was a terrible movie.
Cujo's not a great flick, yeah.
But what about the rumors that this might lead to a series on HBO? Or something?
Oh, they were trying hard for it. Yes, they were. You could blatantly tell. And unfortunately, that would have been cool as hell if they did. If this was a good movie, they'd have had the sequel. They'd have had the series, no problem.
That seems like that's a good fit, is to have Stephen King works in a longer format like a TV series.
Oh yeah, dude.
And especially Dark Tower, from what I've heard from other people talking about this, there is a lot of like characters and interesting, sort of like a high fantasy, not high fantasy, but a lot of fantasy like elements to it that sort of interweave this very intricate.
Well, totally. Stephen King's work is good for that. Making movies out of the stuff is generally, it works sometimes, it doesn't. Like Shawshank Redemption, fantastic. The Langoliers, I mentioned, is really good. Stephen King's version of The Shining,
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
But I mean, it comes down to interpretation of the work. So you get somebody better on this project, and The Dark Tower could have been like legit.
Yeah. Even Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan can't do everything, but he would have made this one. He would have made this one pretty awesome, pretty badass. Even Zack Snyder co-directing would have made the effects better.
Ooh.
I said co.
Wow.
I said co.
Ooh, man. Ooh.
You get him doing the action scenes, doing the special effects.
Ooh,
Don't let him anywhere near.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
no. Think about it this way.
Give him an early retirement.
Think about it this way. Imagine if Sucker Punch was a good movie. Because
I
Sucker
can't
Punch,
do that. That was
Sucker Punch looked amazing, but awful movie.
That was such a cool
You know?
trailer, though.
Yeah, oh, so misleading.
No.
But no, it looked amazing. It was crappy. If this one didn't even look amazing for most of it, and that's the problem. All the cool stuff was the stuff that looked cool in the trailer. Like, that's the problem. Everything that was cool was shown in the trailer.
Awful.
It's The Dark Tower starring Idris Elba, starring Matthew McConaughey. I have to say pass, and that really hurts because I had high hopes for this, and they had good material to work off of.
Ouch.
But at the end of the day, it just was not there. It's in theaters now if you're watching this on time in the live broadcast, and if you're not, well, then you should. You can check us out every Monday at twitch.tv/thegeekdown.